Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Silent Hill. I've been meaning to talk about this game for a very long time now. It's been on my lists of videos to make and I never knew when to start it until now. We finished playing the original Silent Hill on Twitch recently. If you guys want to check that out, links in the description. But we just finished that game not too long ago, and I really wanted to talk about this because it's been a game where I've wanted to talk about because it's just an interesting game to me, at least, because from a game from 1999 there's just so much to talk about, especially since Silent Hill 2 just got remade and that's out, and you know, everything that comes with that, right? So we're going to talk about a potential remake for Silent Hill 1 towards the end of the video, kind of discuss that a little bit towards the end, but I'm going to just talk about my experience playing Silent Hill 1 in 2024 because coming back to this game surprises me every time. So we're going to go through, talk about it. Not going to do a full in-depth like analysis of Silent Hill 1. I really just want to talk about things I noticed, the good and bad coming back to it. So you guys get the gist. Without further ado, let's talk about Team Silent's first Silent Hill. So revisiting this game is a trip, honestly, because of just the modern landscape of games nowadays, and just the day and age that we live in kind of makes me think like coming back to games like these really is a little weird sometimes for some people. Like, it's definitely a super old game just looking at it, right? Like, you can definitely tell it's on the PlayStation 1, man. Like, you can see the polygons, and you know, there are a bunch of aging factors when it comes to this game, right? But regardless of the graphics and obvious, you know, that it comes with the PS1, this game, surprisingly, and the first point I'm going to talk about, is the atmosphere. Even in 1999, bro, Team Silent definitely did something so unique here that it's really hard to explain, but I'm going to try my best. It's something that immediately stood out to me, and it's the thing that I remember every single time that I come back to this game. And the best example I can bring for that is walking around the town of Silent Hill just really early. It gives you this feeling that not a lot of games give you, man. It's really unique, and the atmosphere is insane with just the sound design too. For a PS1 game, it still surprises me to this day how unique the game feels. Like, it's not really a scary game. At least to me, it's not. Maybe that's just because I've played a lot of horror games, but if I had to just explain it in a sentence, this game will always keep you on edge. That's how I would explain it. You're never really comfortable. You're always just on edge. You don't know what's out there. The noises and just the sound design always makes you feel really tense, you know? So I'm going to try to show some examples for you guys so you kind of understand what I'm saying. Yeah, here are some examples. Hopefully you guys get me by now. Hopefully that showed a little bit of it, but I think you need to play the game for yourself to really understand what I'm sort of explaining. And to this day, you know, I would still implore people to just try this game out. If you have an opportunity, bro, try this game out, because, you know, sitting in the dark room, putting on your headphones and just playing this game, it's gonna hit different, bro. Trust me. Like, I can sit here and talk about it all day, but like, this game still gives you such a unique experience, bro. You can just tell, man. that the amount of like time and attention towards this PS1 game was just insane for the time. It's, to me, what stands out about the first Silent Hill, man, is just the atmosphere and the areas, the way it makes you feel, and that's just the game's atmospheres and areas. I haven't even gone into the other stuff, man. So moving away from just the overall feel of the game, like, what does the game offer nowadays, you know, like as a horror game today, right? To me, like I mentioned earlier, walking through Silent Hill on the PS1 is still one of my favorite segments, for sure. It's, to me, what makes Silent Hill 1 so special. My favorite segment is still just walking around the town, getting lost, and just feeling that environment, right? And I think it's so irreplaceable. But, you know, moving away from all that and switching over and talking about something else, right? What else do we got, man? What else do we got? What else does Silent Hill have to offer? Of course you meet characters, bro. Of course we meet characters. We got my main man, Harry. We got Sybil, the cop. We got Lisa, the nurse. We got Kaufman, the doctor. We got Miss Gillespie. And we got Alyssa. And of course, Cheryl, our daughter, that we're looking for, right? And in terms of interactions with the character, they're all really unique in their own way, and how you interact with them as you go through Silent Hill is each really eerie and really weird to some extent too. Like, it's all so dreamlike, if I had to explain it, right? I'm not going to go too in depth with all the characters. Like I said, there's amazing videos out there to do that, but to me, I really enjoy all the characters and how they work together. Even, you know, I'll mention it here very briefly, but even the voice acting is not the best, but it's serviceable. I actually don't mind it. There's a few outliers that really, I feel like, do better than others. So I'm sure to each person, you're going to prefer someone else's voice acting for the game back then, right? But for me, what I really want to talk about when it comes to characters, and one example I always think of when I think about Silent Hill 1 is the character Lisa, because I feel she's the saddest character in the game. That's just how I've always felt. Maybe it's because she's scared of the town and the hospital, right? Or just the way she is sort of an outlier, and, you know, she's very much afraid. And it's kind of interesting to see that when you're playing this game. And the reason I talk about her, right, is because of how Team Silent handles her death. And to me, it's a scene I remember to this day, even after replaying it. It's a scene where you really just feel for this character. You finally, towards the end of the game, you meet her in the hospital. After a couple of encounters with her, you meet her. She's aware of herself and her situation, and even with that, she says,
"I'm the same as them. I just hadn't noticed it before."
Lisa.
Stay by me, Harry. Please. I'm so scared. Help me. Save me from them. Please. Harry.
But alas, us as the player can do nothing about it. Harry runs out the room, and her fate is sealed. And a big reason I single out Lisa and not characters like, you know, Sybil or Harry, you know, because those are all very valid characters that I could have gone into. But to me, when I think about Silent Hill, I think about fear, despair, you know, powerlessness in the face of this town, right? And every time I revisit it, and this game specifically, I think about Lisa's scene. And to add emphasis to this scene and this entire segment, along with Lisa as a character, they choose my favorite track in the game to play during this cutscene, and that is Not Tomorrow. It is a song that I think they used perfectly here. Every time I hear it, it gives me this feeling of hopelessness and sadness, and it just makes me feel so many emotions. Of course, in the game, you hear it and, you know, you feel what the game wants you to feel in that moment with the song and the whole situation. And a really nice touch in that scene, that song will play the entirety of the time that you're on that floor. This song, I remember playing it, and I would just sit there and listen to it for a long time. I've even sat there and like listened to the song on my own, because Silent Hill and its music is such a big part of the identity of these games, in my opinion. And one day I definitely will talk more about Silent Hill's music. That is going to be something I talk about in the future. But I just feel they captured this scene so perfectly with Lisa as a character, and I really wanted to emphasize this scene for any of you guys who have played it, or for any of you guys that know the song and might have listened to it. How does it make you feel? Do you remember this scene, or is there another scene in the game that speaks to you more than this one? Because to me, although I can't explain it perfectly, this scene just still sticks to me to this day, man. And like, as a game from 1999, it still can give us memorable scenes like this that stick with us. To me, that just proves how powerful Team Silent's vision still was back in this day, man. And that's why I feel like this game is still so beloved, because it can pull off scenes like this on hardware that is so old now that it's kind of scary to think about. So moving on to something less serious, let's talk about some things that I want to cover real quickly before we talk about remake stuff. I want to cover this stuff real quick, so let's talk about first gameplay. So, it's not my favorite in terms of like the way it feels. Tank controls are not my favorite. They're definitely serviceable. I'm not one to really trip about it too much, but it's not the best, and it is what it is. The combat isn't my favorite either, but for a PS1 game, it's what you would expect, right? And it's not terrible. It gave us one of the best fall animations when Harry falls down some stairs. It's kind of funny. But, as a game and the way it feels, I have no complaints. But if this game were to get remade, man, that's something that's definitely got to go. Also, another amazing thing about this game that I love to talk about is the puzzles. Man, every single time I come back to this game and do the puzzles and sort of forget how to solve them, right? Because it's been so long since I've played it. I come back and I always remember the piano puzzle. Such a cool puzzle, man, when you really think about it. I love this game's puzzles because they don't feel too difficult, but they're not easy either. They struck this right middle ground where you really do got to think, but you also aren't handed the answers. It's a nice, interesting way, and like to this day, the piano puzzle in my mind is always infamous to me because I remember the first time I did it, I was so stumped. And every single time I've done it after, I've had help, or I've taken notes old school style, and I've really had a lot of fun playing the game like that, bringing out the notepad and going back in time a little bit, doing puzzles like that. Last but not least, the last thing I want to mention for this game is the amazing soundtrack and sound design. Dude, for a PS1 game, man, every single time I play this, I am still surprised at how good this game sound and music is. It's not like, perfection. Maybe to some it is, but to me it's still really damn good, man. It's something that really makes me appreciate sound design and music used correctly in video games, right? Because in this game, like, bro, even the sound of Harry's footsteps walking through the town or on metal, right? All of it is just like, maybe to me, like, I notice it more just because I'm always like really blasting my headphones, right? But Silent Hill as a series was the first game series that really made me appreciate and really look into music and like sound design in video games and how it's used. I'm not going to go into that too much, but Silent Hill 1 does an amazing job with the soundtrack, and I do think it paves the way for the subsequent games that follow, and creating this sort of identity of music and sound design that everybody knows Silent Hill for. So Silent Hill 1 is super cool in that fact, because this is the beginning, man. This is the beginning of that solid foundation that would later turn into the next handful of Silent Hill games that, have such amazing sound design and soundtrack. So I love this part of the game. So yeah, thought I'd mention that. One thing I didn't know I was going to talk about, but with the release of Silent Hill 2 Remake, we got to talk about Silent Hill 1 getting a remake. It's definitely a possibility now because of how well received the Silent Hill 2 remake has gotten, right? But for this game, right, I do think it needs the remake the most out of all the Silent Hill games that, like 3 and 4, right? If we're talking just Team Silence. But I do think this game needs it the most. It's the most dated and it's the most inaccessible, dude. Like, playing this game, obviously, if you're trying to do it legit, getting a PS1, getting a copy of the game is very difficult, and that's not a unique problem to Silent Hill 1. It's a problem with, Team Silent Hills. Even some of the other ones go for crazy prices, right? So for me, when I think about it, I would love for this game to get re-released because there's so much good here. It's not my favorite Silent Hill, but it's one I think as any Silent Hill fan definitely needs to play because it sets the foundation for what we basically know Silent Hill as, right? Like, it sets the atmosphere, it sets the town, It sets the standard for the sound design and music, and you know, giving us a whole new look and making it more accessible to people, I think is just, you know, win-win for everybody. Of course, people are not gonna like, you know, maybe the over-the-shoulder camera, getting rid of camera angles. You know, that's something I didn't really mention, but you know, the unique camera angles the game has. You know, sort of not being sure if, you know, a new studio can handle the fog or, you know, the same feeling. But if it's handled with the same amount of care that the Silent Hill 2 remake got, I think we're in good hands. So I really want your guys' thoughts on it too. Do you think Silent Hill 1 should get the remake treatment next? Apparently, I've heard some things online that Silent Hill 3 is probably next, which I really hope it's not. I love Silent Hill 3, don't get it twisted. I love that game a lot too. But I really do think this game needs it the most. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I hope this game gets remade next, but we will wait and see what happens. But yeah, let's wrap things up. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. A bit of a different video. I really just want to talk about Silent Hill 1 in a more casual way, right? Like I didn't want to go too in depth in this game because there's amazing videos out there that do that already. I just really wanted an excuse to talk about this game and start talking about Silent Hill as a series because it's something that I really fell in love with these past couple years, and it's really made me appreciate horror games again because for a long time I really just fell out of love with horror games just in the past, like, you know, 5-10 years, right? But rediscovering a new series like Silent Hill in the past couple years has really made me appreciate and rediscover my passion for the genre, right? Yeah, let me know what you guys think about Silent Hill 1. Did you play it? Do you plan to play it? Do you want it to get a remake? What are your thoughts on it? Is Harry the best protagonist? Let me know your thoughts on the game. But yeah, if you guys want more Silent Hill content, subscribe. I'm also playing Silent Hill 2 Remake over on my Twitch, so if you're interested, links in the description. And yeah, I'll leave you guys with that. Thanks for watching if you made it to the end. Like, comment, subscribe, you guys already know. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Adios.